Brett Stats Noiseworthy.
We welcome you aboard on this Monday, September 28th, 2020, with a lot going on from around sports. In fact, so much going on from the weekend, but today is one of the milder scheduled days of American sport since we got started back with sports in late July. Tonight, really just two things going on. I guess three. Monday Night Football. Somebody could be taking a big swig out of Lord Stanley's cup. Well, the only somebody it could be would be Tampa Bay at some point tonight. In French Open earlier today, a slam for tennis. But that, I said American sport, but I guess that counts because we keep up with it. But this is one of the lighter days since we got started back. Not the wall-to-wall baseball, nothing going on in the bubble at all. As the NBA Finals, they are all set between the Lakers and the Miami Heat. That will start on Wednesday. As I said, the Stanley Cup could be hoisted tonight by the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're the only one that could do it tonight. And Monday Night Football tonight between two of the now, after tonight, there will only be 8 NFL undefeateds. I guess 9 going into tonight with both the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, undefeated. 6-0-3 NFL teams. And, Drew, one of my favorite things from the weekend, a tie in the National Football League. Drew Barrett with me today.
You know
is Dave.
I hate ties.
I know you do, as Dave is out today in observance of Yom Kippur. He will be back tomorrow. We look forward to having Dave back tomorrow, and it'll be game week again for the Tigers. Again, I think one of the best college football games scheduled for this upcoming, this weekend, this first weekend of October, Paul, with the undefeated 1-0 Memphis Tigers. That game seems like it was played back around 1991 or so against the 3-0 SMU Mustangs. They're 3-0, right?
They are, yeah. They are. They're rolling pretty well, 3-0. We knew that going into the season they were going to be a tough out for the Tigers. Hopefully, depending on how contact tracing and test results are this week, the Tigers should be close to 100%. I'm not going to say 100, probably around 90%. Of the roster will probably be available for Ryan Silverfield this weekend down in Dallas. But it does feel like it's been forever ago. I still have the ticket in my wallet, and I keep meaning to take it out because the way it's been looking over the last 3-4 weeks that I might need to get it framed for the only game the Tigers played in the 2020 season.
Yeah, you're going to get some more in, but you've been to now. I've been to as many games in the pandemic as you have.
Yes, you have.
I finally footballed Saturday in Oxford with Ole Miss losing to Florida. Had a mask on for about 8 hours out in the bright, clear sunshine most of the day, but I was going to follow all the rules and regulations, and I can now say I have gone to a college football game in the midst of a global pandemic. We are Sportstime. We are Sports 56, and today we are also 98.5 FM. To go along with 87.7 and 96.1. But today you can also catch us on 98.5 FM and always on the old reliable on Sports 56 WHBQ on the AM dial. Drew with me today, and we've got a lot to talk about. I don't know how, really, with all that's going on in sports, you've got an NBA final set. You've got a closeout potentially tonight with the hockey. You've got a slam in tennis. You've got the yesterday in the NFL. You've got the full Saturday in college football. And I know for our area, and I've already heard some revisionist history about the Mississippi State LSU game. Oh, LSU was primed for that. coming off that year of years and losing all those players and playing in a pretty much empty tight. Nobody picked Mississippi State. Nobody other than state partisans. Matt White, he did not fear the contest when we had him on Friday, and we had a great caller last week. Wendell, if you're out there, we've got something for you. If you'll check with Carl, we got a 6-pack of barbecue for you at the Germantown Commissary because you defended and believed in your team when we were making those picks last week. And other than somebody in maroon, nobody gave State a chance. And now I'm even hearing after the fact, well, a lot of new for LSU, and Derek Stingley didn't play. And I mentioned the fans not there. 44-623 by KJ Costello. Mississippi State, I'm going to say it, their biggest opening day win in their football history, Drew.
I mean, you just look at the numbers that they put up in that air raid offense of Mike Leach over the weekend on Saturday against LSU. Yes, Stingley wasn't in there, probably would have played a bit of a difference, especially on the outside at DB, but you can't take away the win. We're in weird times. We're in a global pandemic where you have to play with what you got, and Stingley wasn't there. They had a team that were the LSU Tigers on the field on Saturday, so it counts as a W in my book, and it should count as a W for everyone's book, regardless of what.
And it will.
When I turned on the game, it said number 6 LSU versus Mississippi State, so you take it at face value, and it's a great win, and I think that the air raid offense can work in the SEC. I want to definitely get David Cobb's opinion on that about 4 o'clock, because we know how good of defenses there are in the SEC, and you don't really see those types of numbers put in and week out like you do in conferences such as the Pac-12, where Mike Leach is coming from, and of course the Big 12, where I don't even know if they know what the word defense means. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see if that air raid offense can continue to have success for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. But a win's a win, and 1-0 is 1-0.
And for the big bad SEC that loves to tell everybody else, yeah, but y'all don't play defense. KJ Costello never did that to anybody in the Pac-12. I'm going to ask David this. Should the Pac-12 and Stanford feel bad that they didn't win any more with him, or should the SEC feel a little bit exposed, a little embarrassed at game one, him going for 623? We got so much to discuss today. We've got David Cobb, as we mentioned. He will join us as he does every Monday at 3:30. Bottom of this hour, we will have our medals. Drew, I have a ton, but only one gold. It is going to stand out for the one and only gold team. I think right now they possess the golden egg, but we'll get to medals at the bottom of this hour. I know they do. We'll get to medals at the bottom of this hour at 3:30, about 3:45, 3:50 or so. We will go through the baseball. 4 games tomorrow, 8 games on Wednesday. Whew, that'd be some schedule on Wednesday with all those games and all that action all day long. I really look forward to it. My favorite time of the year, the collision of the baseball playoffs and college football and the NFL. Sometimes we throw a Ryder Cup in there, but not this year. But we got plenty for the month of October. We will go over baseball and do our picks about 3:50. We'll get Dave's and announce those. He's going to send them to me at some point, because we've got games bright and early tomorrow at 4 o'clock. David Cobb from CBS Sports on college football at 4:30. SEC AAC recaps at 4:50. Who won the weekend, college football and the NFL, and also what a lot of people are doing today, the extreme, and we want the extreme. Yes, we're begging for the extreme. That talk radio, they always do that, don't they? That's how you make it in talk radio, being extreme. We want your extreme overreaction from the weekend, college and pro, at 67129 at the First Bank text line, or you can call us at 360-8255 at 5 o'clock. Our very own Anthony Sane from Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and Sports Illustrated covering the NBA and the Grizzlies. He joins us at 5 o'clock to talk about LeBron James in his 10th NBA Finals appearance. And he has dragged some not very good teams to the finals. This is not among those, but I don't think this is if the Lakers win it, and I'm going to ask Anthony this, I'll ask almost every NBA take this week. If the Lakers win it with this team, I think this will be the least best Lakers team to ever win a title. There have been better Lakers teams not win a championship than this one. Now, LeBron makes up a lot of that. He covers a lot of shortcomings up. But I don't think this is vintage Lakers. Now, he's always vintage LeBron.
Yeah.
But I don't know that this would be vintage Lakers. So he's in his 10th NBA Finals, going for yet another title. Yogi Berra played in 14 World Series, won 10 of them with the Yankees. And I think LeBron is already in that category with his singular individual success in the team sport. They face the Miami Heat. We'll visit with Anthony Sane about all things NBA, all things Grizzlies, and a lot more. At 5:30, we'll do our Monday Night Football pick. We'll have our top 4 quarterbacks for each team on Monday Night Football for this date. We do it every week, Kansas City and the Ravens, and also adding this one today, the biggest quarterback bust of all time for both those teams. Everybody's had it. In the Bears, they are experiencing now with Mitch Mitchell. 10 quarters in, Drew, 10 quarters in, and they pulled him, and he will never see the field again.
I don't think he will, especially if Nick Foles, the biggest thing for Foles is can he stay healthy? We've seen him come into these situations and be the savior, but then ultimately when it's kind of his team, his time to shine, he's gone down with a major injury. So if Nick Foles can, for once in his career, decide that he's going to stay healthy and not get bit by the injury bug, then I think the tenure is over for Mitch Mitchell in Chicago. And of course, on cue on yesterday, Dave was all for it. On cue, just completely threw Mitch Mitchell under the bus.
Totally bragging, and a lot to brag about. 3-0's 3-0, but just totally threw Mitch Mitchell Trubisky right overboard, and he's out. We'll wrap up the day with Taco Bell crunch time around 5:45, 5:50 or so. So much to do today. 67129 at the First Bank text line, 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line. We want you to weigh in. When we get to medals, give us yours. When we get to overreactions, we want them. We want your interaction with us on this Monday. Drew, it was a lot of football to watch on Saturday. You said you had a 2 or 3 TV setup. I know I had a great setup where we were Saturday, not in our traditional spot in the Grove, but loved where we were in the south end zone. A lot of action coming my way, a lot of touchdowns scored coming my way, and Ole Miss going for 2, but late in the game, right in that end zone, and a lot of SEC teams Saturday. And I'm going to get to this, for good and for bad on Saturday. One game, they lived up for good and for bad to their stereotypes. The good, well, Florida was Florida. Auburn in the end was Auburn. In the end, Georgia had plenty to overcome a shaky first half and not so good. They won by 27. It's not, it doesn't hang at the Louvre, but they won. Alabama over Mizzou. And the defeated teams in those games. Arkansas ran out of gas after the first half. Ole Miss played well in about 1/3 of three-phase sport. For South Carolina, they found a way to not be very good at the end. Kentucky gift wrapped that one to Auburn. They did everything they could to aid and abet Auburn in winning that game. Auburn, smart enough and good enough, and to their stereotype, they had enough at the end. That may rankle people. That may make you mad. And I know stereotypes are very, very dangerous, but they exist for a reason.
They really do. And I mean, there's a reason why when we were doing our SEC picks that for most of them, we were all pretty much around the same win total to loss total for every single team, because we kind of know at this point, especially with the coaches that have been there for multiple years, who they're going to be. And even for the coaches that are in their first year, we knew what they were going to bring to the table. And there's a reason why when you look at all the predictions, it's kind of the same. And it's not the same because we all go off of the cues of one person. We don't just all look at the first person's list that puts them out there and say, all right, that's what I'm going off of. No, they all look the same because that's just who these programs are. Over time,
over the long march of history. Now, yes, you can break out of that stereotype. You can break out of that template. You can break out of that image. And Saturday may have been the breaking out point for Mississippi State. Late in the game, when LSU got it close, everybody was thinking LSU pulls this one out at Tiger Stadium, don't they?
Yeah,
and instead, Mississippi State pulled out even further ahead. I've also heard some today wanting to blast Miles Brennan. They scored 34 points, and he passed for 345 yards, and he does not play defense.
That is very true. He does not play on the defensive side of the ball. I thought he had a decent game, and the only reason why I use decent instead of good is just kind of, and I think this is what a lot of people are getting at when they're harping on Miles Brennan, is Well, he's not the guy before. He's not Joe Burrows. He's not the Heisman winner that they had at quarterback at LSU last year.
He's not going to be.
So that's why it does look disappointing, even though he had a pretty good game. I mean, did make some mistakes at the end, obviously through the interception at the end of the game. And what the heck was going through Coach O's mind, down 10 with that much with that little time left on the clock, not to go, you're already in field goal range, not to go ahead and take the field goal like we saw the Saints ultimately did last night in Sunday Night Football. Basically the exact same situation, still trying to figure out why Coach O elected to basically run out the clock and put up a late heave into the end zone just to, even if they got it, just to lose by 2.
Mississippi State fans would love to hear from you today. The text line are calling in at 67129, texting at the First Bank text line or 360-8255. You have to be proud. You have to be excited. The Pirates just roll right down to Baton Rouge, and I think the story of American sport from the weekend. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus Memphis offering the golden opportunity fall sales event, getting ready to give away from September into October, into trick-or-treat month. You want a great treat? Get one of those great 2020 models. And always you can have the special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story.
Drew, you first.
All right. My top story of the day. The Memphis Tigers have rescheduled their game with the Houston Cougars that was supposed to take place about 2 weeks ago to Saturday, December 5th. And in even better news, Ryan Silverfield told the media today that he is, quote, pretty confident that the Tigers will be playing SMU this Saturday in Dallas. So all signs are pointing in a positive direction that Tiger football will finally resume after 28 days between games. And Brett, we had this conversation yesterday. I did look it up. This is now the longest streak between games in a season for the Tigers. The previous record was 22 days back in 1913.
Wow. Yesterday, it was Sunday morning. It was early. It was Sunday morning and early for you. I told you I hadn't done it, but I thought it would be a good nugget. You dedicated the time to it. Great stuff. This is forever. Well, This is the longest since 1913.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Great nugget, Drew, because, you just knew it had to be really stretching out there long, because even when the Tigers have gone to a bowl, and I know last year was a little different, but they played in the AAC championship game, so it compressed it a little bit more than just like the old way of counting it end of the year. But even when they had gone to bowls in all through the years, it was really kind of that first tranche of bowl games, December 20th, 28th, something like that. This is really stretched out there for a long time. My top story in college football, maybe in all of sports. The Pirate, he swung his sword at Tiger Stadium, didn't he? And KJ Costello, after one game, it's a little bit overreaction here. He may have people asking, Joe who? Get your kicks on Route 623. 323 would have been a great day. 423 would have been jaw-dropping. 523 would have been close to record-setting in the history of the SEC. But 387 from a grand.
It's just phenomenal. I mean, just every single – I know he took 60 attempts to do it, but goodness gracious, that's still 632 yards.
When it's working,
or 23 yards.
When it's working, keep running it.
Exactly.
It's the if the draw plays working, keep running it. But when the crossing patterns are just opening up like the Red Sea,
yeah, the middle of the field was completely open all day.
And Bo Pelini and Ed Orgeron could not do one thing to stop it.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, well, it took a total of 341 days from the start of the 2019-2020 NBA season, which was October 22nd, 2019, to get the NBA Finals set, but they are finally here. The Los Angeles Lakers are back in the Finals for the first time since they won it all back in 2010. and the Miami Heat make their first return since 2014.
We finally get to the NBA Finals, and it should be fun with the I don't know if you would categorize them as upstart, but I don't think they sure weren't the favorite out of the East in Miami against, as I mentioned, I don't know that the Lakers are vintage, and I don't know that they were the overwhelming favorite out of the West. You know, so many people thinking
a lot of people had the Clippers.
This was Clipper time, and that's been rebuffed. My not top story, baseball. They did it.
Yeah.
Improved Buster Olney to be a clown, to be one of the dumbest losers ever. He said it would be 5% that they would start the season. Well, he missed that by 100%.
Yeah.
They started the season. And then he said it would be 95% that they would not finish the season. 5 to start, 95 they wouldn't finish. He missed badly. He missed as bad as you can. And it was more than that, Drew. He was rooting against the sport that has made him. That has made it. Now, he made it, too, through a lot of hard work. Really bright guy, really sharp guy, great sourcing, great writer, entertaining, but in one of the all-timers, right up there with Ivan Browning predicting in 1990 that Memphis was going to get hit by the killer earthquake and everybody's home insurance rate skyrocketing because of it. Buster Olney missed as bad as you can miss.
You really can, and I know that during the time there was still a lot of questions that we didn't have answers to at the time that we now, I guess, kind of have answers to. You know, he didn't really know what it had to look, but that's why you have to always be careful when you make predictions like that, when you put percentages on the chances of an outcome that, hey, you might look really right, but if you're even a fraction off, you're going to look bad, and if you're that badly off, you're going to look horrible.
And very well said, Drew. It's like the end of the world proclamations. If you get it right, what the hell of it? Who you going to brag to? You got it right.
Exactly. I mean, was he really going to be out there going, I told you so? That the sport that's basically given me a job my entire career now isn't going to go on, and why would he? What does really ESPN need me for the next 5, 6, or next 9 months? Until the start of Major League Baseball spring training in 2021. Like, well, what does he really get out of that if he was correct?
And you know, the end of the world proclamations, the end of the world predictors, the doomsday people, if you're right, you have nobody to brag to. And if you're wrong, you're just a noisy gong and clanging cymbal that could not look more foolish. I didn't have a great feeling about college football this year, but I wasn't out there 5-95.
No, I mean, you're exactly right. When you get this wrong, just like every person that's ever predicted the end of the world, you just look like the crazy guy shouting on the street corner.
Shuckles, I missed. No.
My calculation's wrong. My bad.
Oopsie, put in the wrong data and out popped. The world didn't end. Please, if you'd like to today, text us at 67129 at the First Bank text line, or call us at 360-8255. First Bank. Visit them online at firstbankonline.com. First Bank, they know what you need. Reliable, trustworthy Memphis bankers that can give you an answer, a direct answer. They make the decisions for you, for Memphis, right here in Memphis. A direct banker that you're dealing with at First Bank. They have stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community banks are the preferred lender, of people building a success story. Build your success story with First Bank. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. Again, 67129. We want your medals from the weekend. And also at 360-8255, we want your medals. If you want to talk about your team and you want to talk about maybe your experience going out to the ballpark on Saturday, anywhere around, we'd like to hear from you at 360-8255. Drew Baird in with me today. Dave's out in observance of Yom Kippur. This is Sports Time, and medals are next.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your air conditioning system tuned up? What about your heating system safety check? Good news, you can get both at the same time this month. Call Conway Services for our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. And we'll include a heating system safety check at no charge. That's right, Conway Services 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69, and we'll include a heating system safety check at no charge, making sure your heating system is ready for this winter. If that's not enough, we'll include a carbon monoxide test, all for only $69. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll perform your super tune-up for only $57 with a free heating system safety check.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We're here to help you get it done. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And with our next day delivery and free same-day store pickup, you can get it fast, your way. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Have you thought about the holidays yet? Our friends at Window Genie not only clean windows, gutters, and concrete, they also hang holiday lights. Window Genie has a Christmas light rental program that includes custom design, installation, maintenance, takedown, and storage for your home or office. The best part, they're offering 15% off if you book by November 1st. Spend more time with friends and family this year and less time on the ladder. Call today for a free estimate, 901-424-4100. Window Genie, 901-424-4100.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave back with us tomorrow. And before we get into medals, Drew, I want to give Carl Morris, who's producing for us today, his gold medal. Everybody's dorming. Carl's already won the NBA playoff.
Exactly. I mean, we don't have a prayer. I don't even know why we're doing it. Just whatever Carl says, bet the house.
Well, thank you.
Carl, take your victory lap, my man. You're at 12 points. You could pick the Harlem Globetrotters to win the NBA Finals and still win, because I'm at 10, Dave's at 10, and Drew's at 9. Yeah. And I assume, Carl, you're taking the Lakers in the finals, your team, your guys.
Of course, I have to.
Is it a sweep? 5,
Most
6?
definitely a sweep.
Oh, sweep. Okay.
Definitely a sweep. I'm going to take Miami, and I believe I really believe that. I'm not just trying to be the contrarian. Drew, who you got in the finals? NBA Finals.
I'm gonna take the Lakers. I think that LeBron and AD and company are just too talented. While Miami has been playing some of the best team basketball that I have seen in the last 10 to 15 years, I just think it's going to be too much for them to overcome. I don't think you can count on Bama Bayou and Tyler Herro to continue to give you the production that they've been giving you these last couple of series. So they make it interesting. I think Lakers in 6, but Lakers ultimately get it done. LeBron gets his fourth ring, and AD gets his first.
I just hope we have a classic. And you knew the Lakers were going to win one with that grouping, but I didn't know if it would be this year, and it looks like it could be this year. Carl, you've already won. So already a gold medal for Carl to start our medals on this Monday, Carl. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. All right, let's get into it with precious medals. Drew, where do you want to start?
I guess I'll start with my 2 bronze. I give a bronze to the guy that a lot of Titans fans, they wanted out of Nashville in week 1 after those missed field goals. But, hey, 6 for 6 from field goals, 1 extra point, a total of 19 points. Gotti Steven Gostkowski coming through for the 3rd straight week for the Titans, kicking the game-winning field goal. Phenomenal. 15th year coming off a hip injury. Gotti still got it.
And you bring up that injury, and I still don't know that he's 100%. Good for Mike Vrabel, former teammate, probably pretty good bud, but when he gets down to it, he's got to keep a job too. He would have cut him loose, but I think he knew. And remember all the tweets and all the garbage of that first game. He should walk home. Don't send him out there to kick again. They wouldn't be 3-0 without him.
They wouldn't.
It might not have been the high wire act, but they are 3-0 with him. Continue.
All right, my second bronze, got to give a bronze to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, and more for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe not the best stat line that he's ever put up, 271 yards passing, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions, but has any quarterback in the last 10 years done more with less than Aaron Rodgers? I mean, just goodness gracious, the weapons. He's thrown only 2 touchdown passes to a first-round receiver or tight end in his entire career, and he's a Super Bowl champion, and he's continuing to do this for Green Bay. Just phenomenal. I don't think there's anybody else out there that's done more with less.
And he looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, move on to a few silvers. Going to give a silver to Kansas State for beating OU for the 2nd straight year, becoming the first team to beat Oklahoma in back-to-back seasons since Baylor did it in 2013 and 14. They also become the first unranked teams to do it in back-to-back seasons since the Sooners lost to Oklahoma State in 2001, 2002. Also going to give some silvers to some other Tigers players from the weekend that put up some great numbers and definitely made a difference in their teams winning. Darrell Henderson for 114 yards rushing, 120 total, and a TD. Anthony Miller with yet again another game-winning touchdown reception. And Antonio Gibson getting his 2nd touchdown of the season with the Washington football team, going 49 yards and 1 TD on the ground. And my one and only gold, we've talked about this team a lot in the first segment, the air raid offense, the Pirate himself and KJ Costello upsetting LSU and setting records. Costello's 623 passing yards is the most in SEC history and the 11th most in college football FBS history. Also, his 60 passing attempts were the most by any Bulldog quarterback in history.
Do you think they needed to ice his arm down after the game Saturday like a pitcher?
Oh, I'm sure. I think that he had a whole tub just for his right arm.
He was rolling. I'll start with my bronze 2 years in a row. You mentioned 2 years in a row. K-State over OU. Texas was really shaky, but they came back and won. That's the whole object of all this. But if Texas had lost, it would have been game over for the Big 12 already this year, and it looks like they're just going to kind of eliminate each other all season long. Lincoln Riley, one of the great young coaches in the game. You've got to get more on defense. Everybody may need to do that, including the big bad SEC. Another bronze to the U, and everybody may be on the U's back. We'll see.
Are they? I mean, De'Aaron King does look great, but had they really faced that great of competition thus far?
That's a fair question.
I mean, Louisville lost again this week.
They did, and Louisville looked shakier and shakier. Really, opening night, Louisville was kind of fortunate to win opening night. One last bronze for me, Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP last year, injured with the Jags after the big offseason contract. Also had the heartbreak with an issue with one of his children, and now entered this year as the backup, but you knew he would get his shot because you knew that Mitch Trubisky would be bad. And the first time that he really was real bad, They yanked him. He was lucky he didn't get yanked opening day against Detroit, bailed it out, then won week 2 against the Giants. That's not stellar wins. But then the Bears, they go to Nick Foles, and now they are 3-0, and you don't draw pictures. My silver medals go to the one and only Florida defensive player that decided to make the trip to Oxford. Defensive Player of the Week in the SEC, Ventrell Miller, on a team that gave up 35 points. He had 15 tackles. He was about the only thing on defense that was really worth watching for a Florida defense that just watching them pregame and warm-ups, they are beautiful. Mm-hmm. They didn't hit a soul. It was really, really unphysical except for Ventrell Miller. Another silver goes to Florida quarterback Kyle Trask and Florida tight end Kyle Pitts. What a duo on offense. A silver medal goes to Tennessee. They got used and they've started to learn how to win close games. They got used to that last year. I knew in a narrow game every time Jeremy Pruitt will top Will Muschamp. Most people will top Will Muschamp in a close game. They are leaps and bounds better than they were opening day last year. And compared to Jeremy Pruitt's first year there, he's made them tough, and he's making them into a winner. One last silver goes to, where's Dave to say he told me so? Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah, it's actually starting to look right. I think that Josh Allen might actually be the quarterback of the future up there in Buffalo, because the more that I think he's going to finally screw it up, the more he proves me wrong. So I've been with you on that, not buying into the Josh Allen hype, but I guess Dave was right about this one.
One more silver. Georgia had to pull DeJuan Mathis.
Ooh, had to.
Amazing that he did enough in football in August, September camp to be the starter. They had to pull him. In came Stetson Bennett IV, sometime confused as the Kappa Sig Rush chairman, but on Saturday he was the Georgia quarterback, and he was spectacular. He got the Dogs going up at Fayetteville against the Hogs. My one gold medal, one and only. They love gold. They love the battle for the golden egg. They hold it. I like it when State breaks out the gold helmets in the Egg Bowl, and it goes to Mississippi State. Mike Leach, K.J. Costello, Kylan Hill, Osiris Mitchell. On defense, Errol Thompson. I don't want to say on defense Errol Thompson was as big as K.J. Costello, but he was big.
He was a big factor in getting that win. And I thought the Mississippi State defense, while did give up a lot of points, did look a little shaky, came up when they definitely needed to in crunch time.
Your rust.
My rust, I have two rusts. Stat's been thrown out all day, so I'm just going to pile on to the NFC East. I mean, goodness gracious, how do you start that bad? And I, just like everybody else, I drank the Cowboys Kool-Aid, and I feel so silly for doing it. And I'm going to blame you, Mr. Norsworthy, for basically handing me the cup and asking me to drink, because they are just,
I had a drip IV going in both arms.
They are just looking bad, and so is everybody else in that division. 2-9-1 through weeks 3. And I'm going to give a rust, even though they won the game. And I'm going to ask David Cobb to apologize, just like I am right now. I am sorry to everyone for jumping on the Kellen Mond train. I'm sorry for drinking that Kool-Aid as well in the preseason, for believing that Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M Aggies, and Kellen Mond were going to be something to worry about for a lot of SEC defenses this season, and that's not the case. I mean, yeah, they did win 17-12 against Vandy, but Kellen Mond 17-28 for only 189 yards, and he fumbled the ball 3 times. Huge rust for a team that was once again
Vandy quarterback
oversold
was
and
better.
Underdelivered. Seals was better.
Seals was better than Mond, but again, playing to old stereotypes, Vandy was Vandy.
Yeah, exactly. Those are my rust.
My rust, the AP poll, goofier than ever in a goofy year. I guess that we can write it off as that. Some teams that have not played yet, they vault up in the polls. Some teams that have played, like the Tigers that hadn't played lately, they fall. Another rust goes to the JETS Jets. They are BAD, bad. And I don't know how Adam Gase, he's got to be scared every time the phone rings. Just like both the rust here, Dan Quinn and Bill O'Brien, always average. They were again. Another rust. Played better for a half, but that's still 20 straight for Arkansas. but they did look better. They looked organized. And in defeat, I thought Eli Drinkwitz, first-year coach at Missouri, had his team fighting. In defeat, I thought Sam Pittman, with the Barry Odom defensive plan, I thought it was a masterpiece. And in defeat, I thought Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby had an offensive masterpiece. But you got to put it all together to win these games. And finally, my last rush goes to, in victory, A&M. I never, ever, ever buy the A&M hype. I've been hearing it most of my life, and it has never lived up to it. 360-8255. If you would like to give a medal, we would love for you to, or text us at 67129. You can text us at the First Bank text line and give us your medals. We go to the phones. Sam, good afternoon, Sam.
Hey, been a long time no here, man. Nice
Sam, how are you?
Hey, like the old guy said in South Memphis, I ain't dead yet.
Well, I'm glad you're not, Sam. I thought I would have heard from you before baseball playoffs got started. I know you love baseball like me.
Hey, before I give you my medal, let me ask you a question. Who was the last St. Louis pitcher who pitched a no-hitter?
Bud Smith.
Come up with one.
No, Bud Smith did it in 2001.
Oh, okay. I thought it was John Tudor or something. Okay.
No. John Tudor never pitched a no-hitter with the Cardinals.
Okay.
Sam.
I bet. And for my medal, I got to go with the kid from the Miami Heat that came off the bench the other night and scored 37 points, man. Young kid. 20 years old.
20 years old. We were 20 once, weren't we, Sam?
Oh, man. A long time ago.
That's right.
20 years old, man. Never heard of the kid, and he came off the bench and scored 37 points.
Yeah, he had a big day. Who you like in the finals, Lakers or the Heat?
Lakers. Close.
I hope close. I hope 7 games for a lot of reasons, for the NBA to get their full inventory of games, for us, the consumer. It'll be better, but what a long, strange trip this has been.
Long, man. All right, guys. Appreciate it, Brett.
Sam, thank you for calling.
Soon, man. Okay, all
right.
Thank
you. I hope you do.
Appreciate
it,
Sam.
360-8255-67129 at the First Bank text line. And very glad to tell you about FanDuel. Hey, Tennessee, sports betting it's here. And FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you an exclusive offer to get started right now. FanDuel Sportsbook, it's giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. You start out up $50 in free site credit to register and verify early, no deposit required. FanDuel is America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code STATS so they know that we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. That's promo code STATS to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Remember, it must be 21 and present and a resident in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. If there's a gambling problem, call Redline 1-800-899-9789. Go to FanDuel now and remember the promo code STATS. When we come back, we talk the baseball playoffs. We will pick baseball playoffs, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, all the way through in the AL and NL. Drew Barrett in for Dave. Dave's out in observance of Yom Kippur. Carl Morris producing. This is Sports Time. Baseball talk next.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Family Leisure's done it again. We're talking about the world's biggest spa sale. Up to 30% off on spas and swim spas. Choose from hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers. There is special financing available, and if you are in the market, special pricing now as summer starts to dwindle on chemicals and accessories. Always professional delivery available. The spas are going crazy at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road.
Divorce can be complicated, even more so if there are children involved. If you're a father and want to protect your rights, consider Cordell & Cordell. As a partner men can count on, they have helped men with matters like these for 30 years. Visit CordellCordell.com to learn more.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wilson and Brett Norsworthy.
Again, we are now on 98.5 FM to go with the old mainstay. Sports 56, 560 on your AM dial, 87.7 and 96.1, but now on 98.5 FM. You can't escape us, and we don't want you to. We want you to be a part of this and every show every day at this time and all day on this station. And thank you so much all through the years. Drew, Dave will get us his baseball picks. And you know tonight, if somebody drinks from Lord Stanley's cup, I sure hope CDC and maybe health officials are there to make sure it's all sanitized and safe to do so, because you know those hockey players are still going to do it.
Oh, for sure.
His youth hockey is going to come through. He's going to be hockey champion and will brag for the next year.
He really will. He's going to milk it. But here's the thing: he barely beat me, a person who has attempted to ice skate 3 times in his entire life and doesn't know how to stop on the dang things. Like I can get going kind of, but you asking me to stop other than running into the wall, it's almost impossible. So good for him.
Ike, count me as one time. I couldn't get going forward other than to fall down and doing the splits, and not a prayer I could have ever gone backwards.
I definitely couldn't go backwards. The last time I went skating, I think it was a fraternity sorority swap, and literally almost knocked a petite 5'4" girl to the ground as I'm skating, sliding straight across the ring, and basically body checked this poor 5U into the wall, and I still feel bad to this day.
Was alcohol involved?
No, I was actually sober for this one. It was just that I'm just that bad.
That was the problem.
I'm just that bad at skating.
And you're right. That's the point.
Ice skating or roller skating?
Both. Either one.
Both. Same for me, Drew. I went roller skating one time. An aunt of mine took me and her 2 children roller skating. I've never been more bruised up in my life. I couldn't stand up. Of course, I have no coordination. I'm no athlete. Everybody knows that. That's clear. But it was so dangerous. But the point, that is the correct point. Dave can take that as some kind of victory. It's really nothing. It would be Tiger Woods winning a 2-man scramble.
It really would. And I mean, but here's the thing. He's barely beating me. I mean, if the Stars pull it out, well, we're tied, and then obviously I win the tiebreaker because I won last year, right?
Yeah.
So
Victor Holes, like in the Ryder Cup.
Exactly. So if he really wants to brag and go off for the next couple of weeks, like we know he's going to do, I'll let him have it because he did play
2 novices like us, 2 knaves like us. I mean, 600 miles we grew up from the nearest frozen pond.
I now know hockey. I now follow it a lot. But up until when I was in college and had friends who were from the Nashville area or even up north who really got into it, I couldn't have told you what the blue line meant. I couldn't have told you what a face-off was or overtime rules or penalty boxes. I couldn't have told you that 5 years ago.
So he really picked on, the old saying, pick on somebody your own size. He really picked on, two little kids. And well, okay, good win, Dave. Glad you're happy. But Dave will be back with us tomorrow. All right, to something we really know about, baseball. You're ready to make these picks, and it's very chalky. Everything will be played at the better seeds home ballpark. So that means Rays, A's, Twins, Cleveland in the American League, Dodgers, Braves, Cubs, San Diego in the National League. Every game will be at home, 2 out of 3. It's definitely the home team to their advantage unless you take game 1. So let's start over there. 1 versus the 8. Rays versus Jays. Give me the Rays.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well, 40-20 in the regular season. And the thing about them that makes them perfect for playoff baseball is how many close games that they've won. I believe
it's all they know.
Yeah, I believe 25 games have been within 2 to 3 runs of victory. So that obviously comes into play very well in the playoffs. Tampa Bay rolls easily to win sweep, I guess, too.
In the preseason, I had the Rays in the World Series losing to the Padres. Second American League Series, A's over the White Sox. For all the Billy Ball the A's get there, they never win a series. They continue that. It's my one upset all the way to not go with the chalk. I go with the White Sox. Southside take this series over the A's.
I'm with you. Any team that Brad Pitt puts together does decently well in the preseason, but once they get to the postseason, haven't won an actual playoff series, and it doesn't start in 2020. Although, if it was going to, it would be this year.
Twins, the 3 seed over. Only Astros fans are pulling for the Astros. Poor Dusty Baker. Maybe more respect for Dusty Baker out of this year than I've ever had for him. They don't win. Twins take it easily.
I'm with the Twins, and basically just like everybody else, Astros hate, and I can't have any respect for Dusty Baker. When you try to, what he did earlier in the season when the Astros were having all that conflict, and he tries to defend his, I believe, hitting coach for the words that he said against that dude's mom, I can't do it. So give me the Twins.
Cleveland, the 4 versus the 5, mathematically the best series. Cleveland and Terry Francona, they haven't won it since 1948. I don't know that they win the World Series, but they win this series over the Yankees. And if they don't, look out. Here come the Bombers.
I'm going to take the Bombers. I think it goes all 3, but too much talent, especially at the plate.
National League, 1 versus the 8. Very big mismatch on paper, every way you can calculate it. Dodgers, big over the Brewers.
Easy. No shot. Dodgers.
Atlanta, the 2 seed versus the 7-seeded Reds. And once upon a time, Drew, when we had everything so mixed up and Atlanta playing in the National League West, this was a big rivalry with the Cincinnati Reds playing in the National League West. I take the Braves.
I'll take the Braves as well. A lot of young talent. If they can just get a little bit better pitching, they're going to be a sight for sore eyes in the National League.
2 more. We got to move quickly. Cubs, the 3 seed over the Marlins, the 6 seed. Everything will be at Wrigley. It'll be fanless. I think the Cubs, and I'm serious about this, the Cubs should invite one fan and let him have unfettered access to Wrigley Field. Steve Bartman, because it's the first time these 2 teams have met since that infamous night in Chicago. They should welcome back Steve Bartman and let him have the run on the place while he watches his Cubs over the Marlins. Who do you take?
I'm with you on that. I'm going to take the Cubs, even though I don't think they have a bat in all of Wrigley Field, but it's still Miami, right?
Final series, San Diego at home at Petco against the Cardinals, 4-5. The Padres had a tough time getting through the Cardinals through the years. They won't this year. They take it easily over St. Louis.
I'm with you. Padres, Tatis Jr., just too good.
Fernando Tatis's dad was a great Cardinal. He was the guy that had the 2 grand slams off the same pitcher in the same inning. That will never happen again, people. Of all the things in sports you'll never see again, that one sure won't. 1 hour in the books. When we come back, we start hour number 2 on this Monday edition of Sports Time with our friend David Cobb from CBS Sports. That's next. David Cobb on college football.
I love the real estate business. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I've been selling real estate a long time. What I love is having people ask me how some houses sell so quickly and others sit. That's an easy answer. Any agent can sit and tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to know. I give you options and alternatives. I'm a firm believer in preparation, presentation, and proper pricing. We discuss that and my unique Shellbucks option. Beating your competition down the street or around the corner is the name of the game. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate agents and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why my strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. You'll find out why people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Done. You can reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Shell Done Rosengarten. 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
All 75 months at 2.99 APR, G4, LHFO 7472, Outlander, LU 029957, Eclipse, LZO 15617. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 59875, excludes tax, title, and license. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details.
Gossett's Mitsubishi Madness is in full swing at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, and you'll find deals to get this party started. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4 gets 41 MPG Highway. We Gossett at $139 a month or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, built to handle any adventure at $229 a month or buy for $18,573. And take the 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross for a spin at $19,107 or $229 a month. Get confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $139 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave is out today in observance of Yom Kippur with his family and his friends, and we wish them the very best on this holiest of high holy days for the Jewish faith. Dave will be back with us tomorrow. Drew Barrett in with me co-hosting today. Carl Morris producing, and every Monday we talk to David Cobb from CBS Sports about college football and college basketball. And Drew, it was just so good. And I don't want to sound like the SEC sets the music, but it was glad to be out at college football with the SEC vibe going on, even in these times. How about this nugget from Saturday? 24,073 at Kyle Field. That's got to be the biggest crowd out in American sport since Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it if it was, especially in these untrying times that we are in 2020. And, not to really give the SEC more hype and confidence, because it doesn't really lack on that in the first place. It really did feel like
just ask us, we'll tell you.
It really did feel like the first real weekend of college football with the SEC back, like you mentioned. I had 3 TVs set up. Me and my roommate sat there from 11 o'clock, starting the day off with Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, and Kentucky. I think we had the UCF game on all the way through Miami, Florida State, Tennessee, South Carolina. I mean, we sat there butts glued to the couch for about 12 hours, and I loved every second of it.
And of course, you had our pregame on right in y'all's house.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
right,
course,
sure.
Of course, yeah. I had it going over. You were on the Alexa that you'll never have. I asked Alexa.
You don't get to hear enough of me, so you had to listen to me on Saturday morning. I know, right? That's
exactly.
right.
I had you on the Alexa while I was making my eggs and bacon and getting ready for the game.
I will say this: I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Is that allowed?
I will allow it.
It's not the best look to do it, and I am normally I try to be, because I can get humbled quite easily, and anybody can if you'll open up our text line or you run into people. but Saturday pregame, right before we threw it to David and Harry to start their portion of the broadcast, Richard asked me for a couple of angles to keep an eye on. I said, got to keep the Kyles in check. Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts didn't come close to doing that, and I said, Ole Miss can win this game if they force Florida into 6, 7, 8 punts. Florida punted one time Saturday. One time. And it was no shot with them with Ole Miss defense not getting any stops. But we had fun, and it was different, but it was fun, and I was glad to be out. The same feeling I had Saturday about the SEC joining the battle, I promise you. If you know me at all and you listen to me through the years, I will have that very same feeling when the Big Ten jumps in for the party, the Pac-12 and the rest of the conferences, and this Saturday getting back to the Tigers playing SMU. I'll have that very same feeling when we really all get going and it feels like a full Saturday of college football. David Cobb joins us now at David W. Cobb on Twitter with CBS Sports, covering college football and college basketball. Good Monday afternoon, David. It felt good Saturday. Let's keep that good feeling going.
Yeah, it's awesome because 4 straight weeks to start the SEC schedule that there's going to be 7 SEC games. I mean, that in itself is bizarre because that never happens. Because, I mean, normally, say week 1, you've got all 14 teams in action. Well, half of them are playing, FCS teams, it feels like, or lower tier group of 5 teams. And there's maybe a couple of actual SEC games. But to turn on the TV and have throughout the day, 7 games, SEC against SEC, it was awesome. And we get 3 more weeks of that, knock on wood, before teams start taking bye weeks. So it's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, David, it was a great day for college football, I think, across the entire Southeastern Conference. And first one I'm going to ask you about is the one that's been probably talked about most throughout the weekend and throughout today for sure, the Mississippi State upset win at LSU. While that was a great win, can the air raid offense, the Pirate and KJ Costello, keep it going in the SEC where the defense is actually a thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think they'll do it to a degree that they, win the SEC West this year. But look, I mean, people can't have it both ways with LSU. I mean, a lot of people all offseason were saying, well, they lost all these starters, but they've got all this talent. Bo Pelini's going to have that defense probably even better than it was under Dave Aranda and all this stuff. And I realized they were playing without their best corner and Derek Stingley Jr. the other day. But what Mike Leach is doing, while it's taking things to another level, it's honestly just doing what it's taken to be successful in the SEC recently. I mean, look at what LSU did last year. You air it out. That's what the recipe for success was for them. Look at the way that Nick Saban has evolved and developed offensively over the last decade plus. He started to air it out a lot more. And so what Mike Leach is doing, while, yes, in a sense it's revolutionary, it's honestly one of the best ways to have success. And so, I do think that Saturday proved, and I wasn't sold necessarily entirely before then, but if he can do that against the defending national champions without any spring practices and with a relatively unknown group of playmakers, then watch out. I do think he'll win an SEC West title at some point during his tenure, assuming that tenure lasts more than 3 or 4 years. If he's there for a while, then I think he can get it done.
David, you're so right about the moving goalposts. I addressed it in the first hour about a little bit of revisionist history about the game. Now after the fact, but going into it, it was 16-point underdog, defending national champion, greatest LSU team in history, 15-0. And playing at Tiger Stadium, even though 25% capacity. Look, LSU had a great victory lap. They deserved every bit of it. But the party and everything, the party ends at some point, and the hangover has to start at some point, even for that bunch down there that's almost predisposed to not ever have a hangover. Everything can't be about getting the gat on TikTok at the White House. Eventually you got to get back out there and play.
Yeah, no, and I think LSU is going to still be a decent team, but there's a reason I picked them fourth in the SEC West, and one of those reasons was that I thought Texas A&M was going to be good, which they may not be. But I mean, the main reasons were that. I mean, maybe this is unfair, but for all the love that Ed Ogeron has gotten, I mean, a puff piece on the guy on 60 Minutes. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. I thought that piece was going to be about how he, the entire roster got COVID-19. Instead, it was just like a puff piece about Ed Ogeron. And, I love the guy. Everybody loves the guy. He's hilarious. Go Tigers. Everybody loves that bit. He obviously deserves a ton of credit for going 15-0, for hiring Joe Brady last year, for all of those things. But to me, the jury, to a certain extent, is still out on him as a head coach, which sounds crazy, but I mean, he really hasn't been doing it all that long. And, I mean, he had a setup last year with one of the most talented rosters in college football history. And, so this year will be a more true test of how good of a coach he is than last year was. I mean, with Joe Burrow, are you kidding me? And Joe Brady, again, he deserves credit for orchestrating that. But, I mean, yeah, I'm not sold necessarily that Ed Ogeron is the second best coach in the SEC behind Nick Saban. A lot of people seem to think he is. I'm not convinced of that just yet.
He'd honestly have to win about 3 or 4 for me to be convinced that he's anywhere close to as good of a coach as Nick Saban is in the SEC. And David, you kind of said it, but you went over it. I want to go back. Just like you, I drank the Kellen Mond, the A&M Jimbo Fisher Kool-Aid. I said Kellen Mond on these airways. I said Kellen Mond would be this year's Joe Burrow. And he ended up only going for, I think, 189 yards. against a Vanderbilt team. While they looked good and improved, it's still Vandy. Should I fully apologize for trying to sell that stuff that's going on down at A&M?
Yeah, like I feel
And
like
remember who didn't want to buy it, David.
Well, okay, I'll give you your kudos, but Kellen Mond and Jared Garantano to me are like one and the same. It's like they've been around forever, and every year it's like, oh well, there's a reason why they might be good this year, or yeah, you know they're a veteran now, or oh their offensive line's good, or whatever it is, and then they come out and they're just the same old player that they were before. So I don't know why we necessarily expect quarterbacks to just rapidly evolve over the period of one off season and become something they've never been before. But I mean, I guess because of Joe Burrow, I guess that's the reason why. But actually, come to think of it, I think Matt Corral kind of did that a little bit. But that was due to Lane Kiffin, and I mean, Lane Kiffin's done that before. What really changed that made us think that Kellen Mond was going to be so much better this year? I don't know.
Nothing.
I mean, they didn't really look that good. I mean, I've watched most of that Texas A&M Vanderbilt game now, and like it's just like Texas A&M doesn't have an identity. Like they have some really good playmakers, they have some talented guys, but if you ask me what is Texas A&M football net right now, I really don't know what to tell you other than a huge contract for Jimbo Fisher. And I mean that's kind of sad, but you know it's true. They look bad against Vanderbilt of all teams.
In a big old body, great stadium, but it. And I said this earlier, David, and I'm going to change the word stereotype now to cliche. Cliches are around for a reason. They make sense. They're pretty apt. They're pretty accurate. Stereotypes, they're a little more dangerous. You need to be a little more careful with those. But once you have one, they're hard to break. That generality is hard to break from. Vandy, in the end, A&M did win. There was nothing to write home about. They were a 31-point favorite in the game, only had 29 points total scored, 17-12 in the end for the Texas Aggies. But Vandy ended up at the end doing what Vandy normally does. At the end, South Carolina looked like South Carolina at the end of most games. Mm-hmm. At the end, Ole Miss really looked good on offense. I thought it was a masterpiece game plan and play calling by Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby, but they lost. Florida ended up being Florida to the good side. Arkansas, Barry Odom and Sam Pittman's defensive plan, masterpiece. That tape will get around on defending Georgia, but in the end, Arkansas lost again. Kentucky found a way to give it away at Auburn. But State didn't. State came through. But David, to change a cliche, to change a stereotype, you got to do it over the long march of history.
I think that this season could get weird, and so people may end up writing this season off as an anomaly, and we'll all look back at 2020 and just think about all the unique circumstances that made things happen the way they did. But I mean, if you look around the country. And you look at what happened in Baton Rouge, I think the chaos is coming for the rest of the league at some point, talking about the SEC, because, if Georgia goes out and plays like that against, say, a South Carolina or an Ole Miss, watch out. If Texas A&M goes out and plays like that against anybody other than a Vanderbilt or an Arkansas, that's a loss. And so, yes, Texas A&M and Georgia ultimately ended up winning, but I think they both looked pretty vulnerable. They really did, and Ole Miss looked like a team that could upset some people this season. Mississippi State already did it. So, yes, week one didn't really, aside from what Mississippi State did, create too much chaos, but I think it's coming. I really do. It could be as soon as this week. I mean, this week is going to be all about Auburn, Georgia, and Texas A&M, Alabama. But there's 5 other games. That's the beauty of this schedule. There's 5 other games, SEC against SEC, and and at least in a couple of them, I think that there could be an underdog that they get to win.
David, the other big upset from the weekend that was obviously K-State winning in back-to-back years against OU. What does K-State know that nobody else in the Big 12 knows about Lincoln Riley and how to beat him? Yeah,
that was wild. I mean, Oklahoma was up 35-14. Yeah, that's a head scratcher. I know this isn't exactly what you asked, but doesn't it make you wish that for the sake of the AAC, for the sake of Memphis, Cincinnati, and UCF, doesn't it make you wish that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 were still going to be on the sidelines for the season? I mean, we know obviously that Oklahoma State has come back from losing to Kansas State to make the playoffs. You know, they did it last year, so they're not out of it by any stretch. But the Big 12 looks terrible. The Big 12 looks awful. That Kansas State team lost to Arkansas State. Memphis beat Arkansas State, you know, and so we're sitting here talking about these things and, like, you know, it makes me wish that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 were just selfishly for the sake of the AAC and for the sake of the intrigue of Memphis getting back on the field in a pretty good game this week against SMU. It makes me wish that, you know, the path was still kind of clear for them to the college football playoff. But, I mean, Oklahoma, it wasn't even just one thing. I mean, the defense looked like a normal Oklahoma defense. It wasn't really that good, but like the offense just cratered in that second half. I mean, Spencer Rattler, for the first 5 quarters of his season, looked unbelievable against UTEP, and then was just lighting it on fire against Kansas State early. But then, I mean, he looked like a freshman, and I mean, that was just hey, people forget Kansas State did exactly to Oklahoma what Arkansas State did to Kansas State. Kansas State was down a bunch of starters, you know, and just pulls off this crazy upset, and that's exactly the circumstances that they lost, you know, into Arkansas State. So when I say chaos is coming, and talking about the SEC, that's what I mean, because, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had any of the 14 teams have, you know, serious COVID-related absences, but it could be coming, and when it does, you know, that chaos is gonna arrive with it.
David Cobb with us every Monday at 4 o'clock talking college football and college basketball from CBS Sports, native Memphian, proud Tennessee alum, proud Sports 56 summer intern alum, one of the greats of all time that we've ever had around, and love talking with David. David, I know what was worse. Losing's always worse. But, boy, Texas in victory. They won. That's what you play for. But, woo.
I don't even know how I need to go back and watch that. That was all. There was so much going on, like in that time window. You know, they were down 15 with 3.5 minutes left, and you know, I was getting ready to retweet my prediction from a month ago when I called Texas Tech the most underrated team in the Big 12, and I was feeling really good about that. And I look up and they've somehow given it away. That was wild. But man, the Big 12, it's not good. Like Iowa State lost to Louisiana in week 1, and, you know, barely faced by TCU on Saturday. Another team that people thought was going to be good. So, like, I mean, I think honestly, Oklahoma still has to be the favorite. A lot of it will come down to Oklahoma, Texas when they meet in a couple of weeks. I mean, that game's looming huge on the schedule. I think it's not this weekend, but next. And so, yeah, I don't know what to make right now of the Big 12. I mean, it's a flaming pile of garbage, to be quite honest. I mean, Oklahoma State, even, they're 2-0, but I mean, barely. They've looked pretty underwhelming against Tulsa, and then on Saturday against West Virginia. So I don't know what to make of the Big 12. I think you could argue that the AAC is as good as the Big 12 is, because the teams in the top half of the top tier of the AAC, Cincinnati, UCF, and Memphis, are collectively undefeated. Granted, Memphis has only played one game, but UCF looks really, really good. Cincinnati looks solid like usual. We don't really know a whole lot about Memphis yet, but I think you can make the case certainly through this, you know, this far into the season, that maybe the AAC might be the better league.
I completely agree. I think you could send any three, especially just for this reason. You could send any three American teams to play any three Sun Belt teams, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to go 0-3. And Cobb, but one last thing for me, but going from one program in Texas who's been telling me that they're back to another program down in Florida with the U that's now saying that they're back. Are you buying into it? Because while they are undefeated, it's not like they're playing that great of teams. I mean, Louisville, they lost again this week. They're not great. And the only thing about Florida State that resembles anything of a Florida State team is the name on the jersey.
I think Miami is doing to the rest of the ACC what Clemson usually does to the ACC. So just in that sense, I do buy it. I do think they're legit. And I mean, that's not a very deep lead either. Virginia Tech did look really good against NC State in their opener, so maybe you toss them into the ring as contenders with Notre Dame, Clemson, and Miami. But I mean, after that, Pittsburgh has looked pretty good so far. Maybe they're legit now. But Louisville, not going to be in the mix. Florida State obviously not going to be in the mix. Duke, Wake Forest, both sometimes kind of summit at 9 or 10 wins, but they won't be doing that this year if the early indication is true. And then, so yeah, I do buy Miami. I absolutely buy Miami, and I mean the obvious reason for that is De'Aaron King. So I mean it's all about his health. He's a guy that runs around and does things that can get him hurt. Not recklessly by any means, but it's just the type of player that he is. So it all rides on his health. But hey, I think it's good for college football that it's not. I'll say it this way: it's not good for college football for Miami and Florida State to both be down at the same time, and that's what we were looking at. If Miami didn't have the bounce back that some people expected it to, and so I buy Miami. Yeah, and I don't think they're better than Clemson, but I think they can hang with Notre Dame. And they might be the second best team in the ACC, and that means if they are, it means they'll have a shot at the end of the season to play Clemson, for the league title, and who knows what an upset there could bring for them.
David Cobb, it was great to be back out. I think everybody was buoyed by having the full, close to approximating a full Saturday of college football. It will only build, and we will talk about it with you again next Monday. Enjoy. We'll be texting a lot during the week. It was great to be out at the ballpark Saturday. I know. If I'd had to gone over and stood in a corner, I'd have been fine with whatever my assignment was Saturday, and it was much better than that, and it was enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out, David. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk next Monday. David Cobb with us every Monday from CBS Sports, and he covers college football and college basketball there. You can follow David on Twitter at David W. Cobb. Got breaking NBA news that we'll get to. Woj has dropped a bomb. We'll talk about it after I tell you about the commissary. Look, it's Monday Night Football. You're thinking about, let's have a game-watching party. Let's get some food for dinner tonight or maybe into the weekend to watch the Tigers next Saturday against the Ponies.
That's exactly what I'm doing tonight, commissary, for sure.
Down at Gerald Ford Stadium. And it'll be fun. Either place, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, delicious, authentic Memphis-style great food. Start that barbecue feast with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, the barbecue nachos, the smoked chicken wings. Dig into the ribs of the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, a big sandwich, or get it on a plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. You can even order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. And we've got a 6-pack for Wendell, the Mississippi State caller. If you're listening, Wendell, you win. Just for calling in last week with your bowl prediction on the Maroons, on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And wrap it up at the commissary with the great desserts like the lemon icebox pie or the terrific banana pudding. And it is not too early to start thinking about getting on that list for one of those 36-hour birds come holiday time. 754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and Germantown. Great party areas in Collierville at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. Walker Taylor, my friend, has done it the right way with the Germantown and Collierville commissaries. The breaking news from the NBA, I'm not surprised. Are you? Doc Rivers out as the Clippers head coach.
I'm a little surprised. I really am. I thought that they probably would have given him at least one more year with the new guys. But when you're still the only team, I believe the only team in the Western Conference to not make it to a conference finals matchup, then you've got to figure out to do something because you were the favorites going into the season. You were the favorites going into the bubble. You were the favorites going into the playoffs down in the bubble, and you still can't break through that wall with quote-unquote playoff Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and the other good talent that they do have around them. They have a good ensemble to go with those two superstars. Then I guess you do have to make a change at some point. the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I guess that the Clippers just decided they didn't want to be insane anymore and mix it up a bit.
I'm not shocked about it.
You're right. I'm not either, Carl. They're not going to go out and fire Kawhi Leonard. They're not going to go out and fire playoff Paul. They're going to fire the coach, and that was Doc Rivers was the 5th in seniority with his current team in the NBA this last year. Now he's out. That moves Brad Stevens to number 5, Pop at 1, Eric Spoelstra at 2, Rick Carlisle at 3. They all have titles with the teams they coach. Terry Stotts at 4, and now Brad Stevens moves in at number 5. He was hired July 23rd, 2013 by the Celtics. 1 year in for Taylor Jenkins in Memphis, and he's already 20th in seniority.
Wow.
Tough business.
Very tough business. It's win or get out, and we'll find somebody else to do it. And we've seen that even here in Memphis, where we thought we've had successful seasons and they decided to make a change. So it's not a job that you can really bank on longevity unless you are a guy like Greg Popovich.
Yeah, only one of the dumber things the Memphis Grizzlies ever did is fire the coach that took you to the Western Conference Finals, but they did do that once upon a time. When we come back, we will go over all the AAC games from last Saturday, a brief look ahead to this Saturday that includes the Memphis Tigers getting back to action. Also, same drill for the SEC. We will look at last 7 games played from last Saturday and the 7 that will be played this week. Drew, are you going to try to go to SMU because they're a little more relaxed on attendance in the great state of Texas?
I had the opportunity to go. I just couldn't get the days off that I would have liked, and plus I'm gonna I need to be here with you on Friday, so while Wolo's traveling, so I didn't want to pass that up an opportunity to sit here in studio with you.
Oh man, that makes me feel great, but also sad that I'm holding you to here. But if you need to go, call. We can handle it, can't we? If you want to go to Dallas,
yeah, we can handle it.
All right, I may make a phone call or two. If you're giving me the leeway, I may make a phone call.
I don't ever want to hold anybody up from going to see their team play. We'll talk about the AAC and the SEC when we return. This is Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical-grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight. shipped exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
All 75 months at 2.99 APR, G4, LH, FO 7472, Outlander, LU 029957, Eclipse, LZO 15617. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 59875, excludes tax title and license, offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details.
Gossett's Mitsubishi Madness is in full swing at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, and you'll find deals to get this party started. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4 gets 41 MPG Highway. We Gossett at $139 a month or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, built to handle any adventure at $229 a month or buy for $18,573. And take the 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross for a spin at $19,107 or $229 a month. Get confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $139 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We welcome you back in on this Monday afternoon. Drew Barrett co-hosting with me. Dave will be back with us tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And now we're going to go over the AAC from the weekend. Quick look ahead for next weekend, including the Tigers traveling to the campus of Southern Methodist University to play at Gerald Ford Stadium. No relation to the president. Next Saturday, the rematch of the game that last year was the Saturday night primetime game, the weekend that game day was here. SMU, they win again last weekend, Drew, 50-7 over Stephen F. Austin. They should have won big. They did win big. Shane Buechele's rolling. Sonny Dykes' offense rolling, and they're getting ready for the Tigers. 3-0 for SMU. Saturday will be against 1-0 Memphis.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good matchup. It's going to be a lot closer than I would have predicted 3-4 weeks ago when we actually did the predictions. But Sonny Dykes is having that team rolling. Now, they haven't played, world beaters going into this. I think barely beat Texas State. You're right. They did beat North Texas by 30, and of course just put a whooping on the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin, 50-7. While those aren't world beaters, they are playing. They do have momentum. They are in shape, and that's the biggest question for the Tigers coming into the week is how in shape are they? I mean, it will have been 28 days between games. I think probably like two and a half full weeks between real full practices that they've been shut down due to COVID-19 positive tests or contact tracing. So if they can stay in shape and kind of keep a rotation going and not get burned, we saw last year, and it's kind of been the cliche or the what's the other word that you stereotype. Sorry, don't know why I forgot that word for the Memphis Tigers. It has been defense, and it's been that way since the Tigers have turned around the ship back in 2014.
And they turned around their stereotype. They did. Drew. That's a great. Remember when Clemson was Clemsoning? They turned theirs around.
That
so
is
it can
true.
be done.
It can be done, but the stereotype that I'm talking about is defense, defensive play, and big plays. And that's where I'm most worried about this matchup is because Shane Burchell is playing really well. We know how good of a quarterback he is. We know what kind of offense Sonny Dykes is going to throw at you on Saturday. So your defense is going to have to be very, very in shape and very highly tuned to battle against that. So if they can keep the rotation and not give up big plays like they've been known to do in years past, it should be a win for the Tigers. But it's going to be a lot closer than I thought 3 weeks ago.
Me too, because everything has happened. Our lives just changed so dramatically week over week and month over month. It feels like we did those darn picks back in June or July. I think we did do one time during July, didn't we? and those have changed. All the darn schedules changed too. 3 other AAC games Saturday, and I thought all 3 went pretty much to form. You called it on Friday in our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. You had Tulane as your college football lock, 3.5 over Southern Miss. They win by 42. They roll Southern Miss. And Tulane, you know what they want back. They want back that last 10 minutes against Navy.
Oh, they really do. And I think that's the only reason why the point spread was so low because, I mean, Southern Miss is 0-3 now, have the interim head coach. So there's instability there. And Tulane is a very good team. If they didn't give up, just basically fall apart.
Coached.
Very well coached by Willie Fritz. And if they didn't just basically fall apart in the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter against Navy, then they'd be sitting pretty looking at being undefeated.
Sure would be. 24-10 Cincinnati over the Army. I got to that game late after the Ole Miss game and my duties afterwards, but it was about like I thought it would look. The line was 14.5. We all had Army. All said Cincinnati would win. They did 24-10. And then Central Florida, and that was 14 ranked then, Cincinnati over 22nd ranked Army. And Central Florida, 51-28 over East Carolina. I think this is pretty, when I was talking about earlier about the Lakers maybe not being vintage, I think this might be vintage UCF in this very unvintage year.
I don't know. While, yes, they did end up winning big 51-28, I watched most of that game, along with the other 2 SEC games at that 11 o'clock slot on ABC with the Knights and Pirates of East Carolina. East Carolina was able to expose them in some places. I think that while Dylan Gabriel might be the best quarterback that they've had down there, even including Blake Bortles, if we want to go back in the last decade, he didn't look all that great. He did make some mistakes.
But won by 23,
but
maybe not having the A game.
Exactly. You are exactly right. And I shouldn't try to needle and prod and try to find something wrong instead of just taking for what it was. It was a huge win over East Carolina, and East Carolina did look a lot better than I thought. They're slowly getting back to the East Carolina that I think we know. It's going to be another 4 or 5 years if I had to put a timeline on it, but they're better than they were last year. And
hard to believe that East Carolina lost their old stereotype template, maybe the cliches around them, and now they're starting over. But as I talked about earlier, I didn't mean it to be mean. It's just it takes the march of time to change them, but they can be changed. Next Saturday, 5 AAC games starting early at 11 o'clock, East Carolina. They play in Atlanta against Georgia State, the whole Georgia State testing story. What an embarrassment. And I fear that that's been widespread across the country in this virus era. USF at Cincinnati at 2:30. Memphis at SMU also at 2:30. That game on ESPN2. Tigers installed as a 3-point favorite. Navy, they play at Air Force in one of the Commander-in-Chief's games. That game on CBS Sportsnet at 5 o'clock next Saturday afternoon. And then Tulsa, they've only played once they played and lost to Oklahoma State. They go to Central Florida, where Central Florida is a big favorite, 21.5 over Tulsa in that game. In the SEC from last weekend, I was at the Ole Miss game. bright and early Saturday morning, and it was mostly Florida. Ole Miss had good moments for sure. I think plenty to be happy about, but plenty to work on for sure. All the fears of the defense came true on opening day, and some fears for Florida on defense. I don't think they were really expecting Florida big 51-35 in an offensive explosive game.
Yeah, I don't think Florida was expecting that and turning that game on, especially there in the first drive. Seeing number 10 line up at a wide receiver, I had to double check to make sure that was Plumlee out there for Ole Miss.
Wasn't Chad Kelly?
You're exactly right. I was like, who the heck is out there lined up that looks exactly like John Rice Plumlee? But the offense looked phenomenal. I thought Ole Miss looked a lot better than they did last year, especially last year's season opener, only being able to put up 10 points against the University of Memphis the last Labor Day weekend of 2019. So, maybe Ole Miss impressed me a lot to where I might want to go back and look at that 3-7 record that I had them at and possibly go up to 4-6. They impressed me an entire game win, I think.
I think plenty to be excited about for Ole Miss. You mentioned opening day last year, and I said that, Drew, I got it right pregame. I'm just going to tell you.
Good job.
I said this pregame. Matt Corral would pass for more yards on opening day this year against Florida than he did last year, and I said this on our air, against a really, really good, if not their best team in history, Memphis Tigers team. He went for 93 last year against the Tigers on opening day. I got it right. He went for 395. Another early game Saturday was Auburn, 29-13 over Kentucky. Auburn fans, light me up if you'd like. I thought they would lose the game. They didn't. They find a way to gnaw out these kind of wins. Gus Malzahn, he has an unbelievable way of getting himself in trouble, but getting himself out of trouble. They win 29-13 over Kentucky. Kentucky gift-wrapped that game, but Auburn nice enough to accept.
Yeah, they were. And, going into halftime, only up 8-7. And before I get into Kentucky, I don't understand, and I guess it's a rule on the rule books, especially if it can be quote-unquote targeting. But did you see the interception for a touchdown?
I did, before halftime.
Yes, where they called the targeting on the behind him. I don't get that. To me, that's not targeting. That's not a dirty play. That's a football play. You're taking out two Kentucky players who are within 3 yards of tackling your teammate who intercepted the ball and is running for a touchdown. I don't see why that's targeting or quote unquote a defenseless player. That's called a football play. That's called taking out two guys with one and putting on a good block. He hit him straight from the side. There's no helmet to helmet, and just because it was from the side and he didn't quote unquote see him, it's targeting, and I don't get it. And I don't think that you should be able to go back at a review and call that penalty when you didn't see it in the first place on the field. Just ridiculous to me.
Gus had a fit, but remember, Drew, Saturday was opening day for the Zebras as well. We've talked a lot about Mississippi State down at Baton Rouge. They win 44-34, the story of the weekend around college football. In Fayetteville, Arkansas, with a really good fight, looked improved, looked like a ball team. Sam Pittman had them ready, much more prepared than any game they hit the field under Chad Morris, but in the end they lose 37-10 to Georgia. A lot of Georgia fans today really defensive about some of the criticism at the Georgia win. Yes, they won. Yes, they won by 27. That's the object. It goes in the left-hand column. But remember, Kirby Smart was hired to not be Mark Richt. He was hired to be the Alabama of the East. That didn't look like Alabama of the East.
It really didn't, and especially in the first half when, Arkansas is basically making you stomp on the brakes and not allowing you to press go and do anything with an offense that we've seen be pretty electrifying the last couple of years. Yes, they did ultimately turn it around, but I know it's only one half of it's only 2 quarters of a 4-quarter game, but those 2 quarters, that spoke a lot, and I think it said a lot worse about Georgia than it did good about Arkansas.
But in the end, Arkansas extends that streak to 20, and now they got to go to Starkville, where they really thought that might be the breakthrough to end it, if not there, when they host Ole Miss the week after that. If they don't get it in one of those 2 spots, it's going to get out there even longer and uglier. The Alabama of the East, Georgia wants to be. The Alabama of the West, well, heck, that's Alabama 38-19 over Missouri. They pulled up late. They could have scored at any time, but I do think Eli Drinkwitz's club and his first game there, he fought really hard. We've talked about A&M over Vanderbilt 17-12, more praising of Vanderbilt and more critical of Texas A&M. And the late game that a lot of people thought would be close, and it was, Tennessee able to pull that one out. We all went 5-2 in our SEC picks. I missed on Kentucky over Auburn. We all missed on Mississippi State over LSU. But you and Dave, two known Tennessee Vol haters, y'all both missed Tennessee over South Carolina.
Well, if Tennessee would have blown out South Carolina, I would have came on here today and said, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. I guess I really am a Tennessee hater, a Memphis homer. But it was a close game. And, I mean, I think Tennessee is so much more talented than South Carolina, but for South Carolina to put up the fight that they did and ultimately have a chance to win it there at the end, I'm not gonna say I was wrong. I was technically wrong on paper, but I wasn't wrong.
This week, a homecoming, a lot of ways for Will Muschamp. Born and reared in Gainesville, matriculated to Georgia, and that's the proper use of matriculate, not the Hank Stram use. And then he was later head coach of the Florida Gators. He goes back to Gainesville this weekend, 18.5 point favorite for Florida over South Carolina. Tennessee, 11 o'clock game. They're at home, 10.5 point favorite over Mizzou. 2:30, Alabama in the CBS game. They're a 16.5 point favorite over A&M. That's the same favorite LSU was over Mississippi State in the CBS game last week. Would it strike again?
I don't. I'm gonna say
no.
I'm gonna say no for sure. I mean, Kellen Mond just so bad, and I want to punch myself in the face for buying into what everybody was trying to sell me out of College Station, Texas. Jimbo Fisher is never going to win it at A&M. I'm completely convinced of it now.
That's a Monday overreaction. We'll get to that in a few minutes as well. This coming Saturday, 0-1 Ole Miss travels to Lexington, 0-1 Kentucky. That game's at 3 o'clock. Kentucky, a 6.5 point favorite. Airtime for us on the Ole Miss Learfield IMG Sports Network begins at 1 o'clock right here on these stations. It now includes 98.5 FM. Usually a November staple, one of the great rivalries in college football. Number 7, Auburn. They go to Athens to face number 4, Georgia. Georgia, a Monday 7-point favorite. Arkansas, as we said, they go to Starkville to play Mississippi State. State, a 18-point favorite in that 6:30 Saturday night game. And Saturday night on the road, 0-1 LSU against 0-1 Vanderbilt. LSU, a 20-point favorite in the game at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt announcing today some fans this week and then more as the month of October goes. A lot of people thinking the Titans, by the end of the year, full crowds.
That would be great if we're able to do it in a safe manner. And I think that Vandy should allow fans in, and regardless of whether it's going to be 90% LSU, at least have somebody there. While I know everybody's been complaining about Shelby County health officials and the 12 feet spacing to where we're only getting about 5% in there, but we are still getting some people in there. Like, you still do have somewhat of an opportunity to go. I know ultimately against Arkansas State, we probably would have had close to a sellout just because of, one, the weather was really nice that day, and 2, we're coming off the best season in school history. Could have been close to 58,000 at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, but at least you get somebody in there, right?
Exactly. And you talked about the great weather, and this fall, the weather's even going to get better. And this fall, it's going to be great. And at All-Star Chevrolet, I'm loving all the new All-Star Chevrolets they have down in Olive Branch. You will not find more new Silverados anywhere, and for a lot less. If it's a new Chevy you want, Olive Branch is where you want to be. Come drive one of these new Blazers or Tahoes. I've been in the Tahoe. I'm getting ready to try the Blazer. Talk about a road trip. Drive a new Traverse or Camaro. And here's the new Chevy car to drive. One of the Impalas that got all the awards, All-Star. They win on the low prices. We're talking 20-something. You can even get thousands in cash back. Check out the certified pre-owned Chevy deals. The lot is full of Tahoes, Malibus, Impalas, and Suburbans. And don't forget, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Collierville. It's not Mount Moriah. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star, one job. Make sure you get the best deal, have fun doing it, and do it in record time. Everyone at All-Star always wants to say thank you so much to our first responders and all that they do for us every single day. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com. Coming up, we have our NFL and college football who won the weekend and our extreme overreactions for both. We want yours. Extreme the better at 67129 or at 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line and the First Bank text line. You are listening to Sports Time.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. It is time for the final clearance sale at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Listen to this, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. You heard me, James Davis, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. Unreal selection of sports coats and sports shirts for your next Zoom call. Limited selection of shorts and knits, but there are some. If you get there, you'll get 70 to 80% off. Here's some of the brands you can save on during this incredible sale. Peter Millar, Sandstrom, Mac 5 Pocket. I'm talking 70 to 80% off while it lasts. The only place in Memphis that you can find the Stant custom shirt and pants system. Only at James Davis, this exclusive store for this unique custom fitting apparel where shirts start as low as $98, pants at $168. Go see it to believe it. The clearance sale at James Davis.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 42424. That's BICEP to 42424.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown, on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova, off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football.
Coming up from Baltimore, it's the Ravens on a 14-game regular season winning streak, hosting the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Tony, does it get any better than this? Patrick Mahomes, the MVP from the 2018 season and Super Bowl 54, facing off against last year's season MVP, Lamar Jackson.
These are two of the best young quarterbacks, and we also have two of the best teams in the NFL. This might be a preview of the AFC Championship this year. The Chiefs are coming off a tight win against the Los Angeles Chargers. It took overtime. They're going to need to play better against a red-hot Baltimore Ravens team who blew out the Houston Texans last week.
Join us for the Chiefs at the Ravens on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
O'Reilly.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you can earn bonus points on more than 250 offers, like Bosch Icon Wiper Blade, save $8 per pair, and earn double O-Rewards points. Online or in-store, get $5 for every 150 points you earn. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now that the storm has passed, Lowe's is ready to move home forward. Our Pro Team is here for your Pro Team every step of the way. We have the essentials to repair and rebuild, to get homes and neighborhoods back up and running. It's what we do, what we've always done, what we'll continue to do. We also offer job site delivery to save you valuable time. Find what you need in-store or 24/7 at lowesforpros.com. Lowe's, because now more than ever before, home unites us.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you, Carl Morris. We're getting short on time before the top of the hour. And at the top of the hour, we will be joined by our very own Anthony Sane talking NBA and the ouster of Glenn Doc Rivers with the Clippers and the start of the NBA Finals on Wednesday. So, Drew, let's just do our Who Won the Weekend here. We'll get to the overreactions after we visit with Anthony, and it's clear in college. It's easy. Who won the weekend in college? Mississippi State They lapped the field. It's not even close. It was a landslide.
They are the for sure winner, but I decided to go with somebody else just because I knew that's probably who you were going to go with and who we were going to talk the most about today. I'm giving a big winner of the weekend to Justin Fuente and the Virginia Tech Hokies for finally getting to play their first game, having delayed, postponed, canceled for the last 4 weeks, finally getting to get out there on that field, getting the big win against North Carolina State 45-24. And while they had, I believe, over 2 dozen players out due to COVID-19 or contact tracing, and still got the big W.
1-0 for the Hokies Gobblers. That's a good one. That's a good take from weekend. NFL for me, the weekend winner, Stephen Gostkowski and the Tennessee Titans. 3-0 and 3-game winners. That's about all you can ask for. Yours?
That really is. And I hate to say this while I'm sitting here wearing my Baltimore Ravens polo, but the Steelers, they're a winner for me, starting 3-0 for the first time since 2010 when they lost the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. They've looked great. Big Ben's looked great. They're on a roll.
They are, and they came back in that game, got there, and they were able to win and stay undefeated. I had the Steelers winning it all this year. It's going to be fun to see them sort that out in that division. It always is. And here comes Cleveland with a good weekend from Baker Mayfield playing steady. Final hour. It starts in a few minutes with our very own Anthony Sane talking NBA. That's next on this Monday edition of Sports Time.